1.5 Part 2. We're talking about different angle pairs and the relationships between their measurements. The next pairing is called a linear pair. It's made up of two adjacent angles whose non-common sides are opposite rays, or in other words, their non-common sides make a straight angle. So if you see here, we've got angle ABD, which is this angle, and the one right next to it would be angle DBC. And together they form this straight line from point A, point B, point C. So they're called a linear pair. That's where the word linear comes in. The linear pair postulate is if two angles form a linear pair, then they're supplementary. Well, if together they're going to form a straight angle, that's 180 degrees, that means they're going to be supplementary to each other. So measure of angle ABD plus the measure of angle DBC will equal 180 degrees. An angle bisector. The word bisect means cut in half, or cut into two equal parts. So a bisector is a ray that divides an angle into two congruent angles. So if we start here and talk about the largest angle that we see in this picture, we have angle XAZ. And there's a ray in the middle of it that splits it in half. So that ray is the angle bisector. Ray AY bisects angle XAZ. And since it bisects it, these two small angles are going to be congruent to each other. Angle XAY is going to be congruent to angle ZAY. Alright, let's use some of those terms in some problems. Name two pairs of angles that form a linear pair in the diagram. Okay, so it says two pairs. A pair is two, so we need two pairs of two things. So to make be a linear pair, they have to together form a straight line. So we could talk about this one, LMP, and its linear pair with PMN, because their non-shared sides end up making a straight line. The other option is a different color here, so you can see it. Angle LMQ and angle QMN. This is a pair of linear angles, and this is a linear pair of angles. So we would know that these two amounts are supplementary. They would add up to 180. These two amounts are supplementary. They would add up to 180. All right, two more examples, and then you're ready to go. All right, EFG and GFH are a linear pair. The measure of angle EFG is 2n plus 21. Measure of angle GFH is 4n plus 15. What are the measures of EFG and measure of GFH? And it says draw a picture. So the easiest thing to do, if it's going to be a linear pair, I would start with a line, because a linear pair is going to make a line. So just start with a little line here, and then make two angles out of it. put a ray somewhere in the middle and go out like this. Okay? Well, if we want to label points on there so we can name them, one of them was E, F, G, and the other one was G, F, and then I can put H out here. And those are my two angles. Those two measurements are going to add up to 180. They have the sum of 180 degrees. So that means this amount and this amount added together will equal 180. So that's going to be your equation. 2n plus 21 plus 4n plus 15 equals 180 degrees. Why don't you pause the video and do the algebra and then come back and check your answer. All right, adding like terms. 2n and 4n is 6n. 21 and 15 is 36. Subtract 36 from both sides. 6n equals 144. Divide both sides by 6. So n is equal to, I believe, 24. Okay, but it didn't just ask for n, it asked for the measures of the angles. So measure of angle EFG will be 2 times 24 plus 21. You just have to plug it back into this original algebraic equation. 2 times 24 is 48. 48 plus 21 is 69. So there's the measure of angle EFG. For the measure of angle GFH, that would be 4 times 24 plus 15. 4 times 24, 96. 96 and 15 is 111 degrees. So there are your two answers. That one and measure of angle GFH is 111. And you can double check that. If you add those two amounts together, do you get 180? Yes, you do. All right, example 5. In the diagram, ray GH bisects FGI. So we want to solve for X and then find FGH, HGI, FGI. Okay. All right, so since it is a bisector, ray GH is the bisector, it cuts the big angle in half. So I know that these two amounts are the same. This one and this one are going to be equal to each other. So instead of adding them together, we're going to do 3x minus 3 equals 4x minus 14. I would subtract 3x from both sides. So I get negative 3, don't lose that negative, equals 1x minus 14. Add 14. So x is equal to 11. Okay, so we found x. Now we also have to find FGH. So FGH would be, I'm just going to do it right here, 3 times 11 minus 3. And that is 33 minus 3 would be 30 degrees. So FGH is 30 degrees. How about HGI? HGI would be 4 times 11 minus 14. 4 times 11 is 44, minus 14 is 30. And that makes sense because the two of those should be the same amount. Now, if this is 30 degrees and this one's 30 degrees, then how big is FGI? FGI would have to be 60 degrees. All right, that's the end of your notes, and you have an assignment that is on Math Excel. You're going to have some work to show on problems 9 through 12. So that means 9, 10, 11, and 12. All right, get to work.